Hey, this is Todd Smith with 360 Converge. I get to share some time out of a very busy man's schedule right now, Mr. Dustin Corbett from Williams Auto Group. And also, Dustin has been working on a cool podcast. I'll let him kind of introduce himself a little bit more, and then I got lots of questions for you, Dustin, man. I'm going to jump in there. So first I got to find out what the beard cream is, because I've been trying to grow mine, but you're like, look like you're years ahead of me. I just got the old gray, so...
Well, first of all, Todd, I appreciate you having me on, man. I'm always humble when anybody asks to hang out for a little while, because I don't really think of myself as anybody that really deserves any kind of attention. So I appreciate being on here. I love what you've been. When did you start doing this? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, man.
Right?
I just felt like, I don't know, like you, right? We have all these conversations, and some of them are really good. And I was like, man, there's a lot that I feel would help people.
Sure.
And so I felt like, hey, can I just turn those conversations into something of value? Just, sitting up sequestered in the top of my house.
Yeah.
For other guys to listen and go, oh, that makes sense. Or, oh, I could try that. Or that, I'm dealing with the same shit, whatever it is. So
Yes, absolutely. No, I appreciate you having me. As far as the beard, there's actually no oil.
Yeah.
This is COVID beard, so it really hasn't been trimmed up or anything. We'll see how long we can get it. But yeah, I appreciate that we got, almost 3 weeks now, I think, ago, we started our podcast, 2 Steps Ahead.
Yep.
Probably for the exact same reason to which you're starting to do what you've done. It's not, listen, I'm not getting any money for it. It's not a revenue stream by any stretch. And quite honestly, I don't know really what people are going to think long-term about it, but being that we have a community on LinkedIn, which is phenomenal, by the way, which is where we met, where I've met a lot of phenomenal automotive people and non-auto.
Right.
I said, listen, if we got something to say and anybody cares, we feel that we do some really good. We feel that we are lacking in some areas, which is where it started, was to try to learn from those that are doing better than we are in particular areas. But then the places that we're performing well in, if we can help some people, awesome. So 2 steps ahead, it started. We just set out episode 4 yesterday, and I hope everybody enjoys that as well. If they get a moment and they can hang out and listen to me go on some complete rants, like I call them, which I am known to do, then I appreciate everybody that's paying attention to it. It's like I said, it's humbling.
Absolutely. Well, we'll put a link in this, so we'll link to that as well, because I think awesome. I think you're sharing some good information. So let me kind of dive in, man. So my question: so you guys have stores that straddle 2 states. Yes. Both states have been kind of shut, so to a lot of degree. So what was your real fast adaptation to kind of keep stuff moving? What were your go-to steps that you started right when this thing hit and you guys had to kind of shut the doors? Was it leaning towards the digital retailing stuff, or was it just trying to just reorganize your processes? Or
that's a great question, and there's a lot of talk right now. And episode 4 from yesterday and a clip that I put up on LinkedIn got some real good conversation starters in regards to the online retailing. So in I think it was May 21st or 22nd, I'm sorry, March 21st or 22nd, we were deemed by the state for, on the retail end of things, completely shut down. But service and parts were labeled as essential business, so we did not have to shut the service department down. About a week after, so it wasn't too long, but about a week after, they allowed and they opened up in New York the ability for online, they labeled it online and remote sale only for the retail side. So at that point, we did bring back our general sales manager and our BDC agent to the showroom to handle leads and hopefully set up deliveries. Our showrooms are still locked. Nobody can come into the dealership on the front side at all. There's no test drives. We can't even talk to somebody on the parking lot. Literally all has to be via phone, email, text, however the communication can be done. And then if we actually put a deal together, which we can do, they can come in and pick up the car only.
Okay.
That's the only interaction we can have with customers on the retail side. Pennsylvania had been closed up until yesterday, completely in sales. So our PA stores just opened up yesterday, and all 3 of them, I believe, had deliveries ready.
Okay.
They still had people calling in. And the minute that it was open, we got in touch with them and we said, let's go, let's put a deal together. And it was real fast. So the pent up demand was there, and they have scheduled now. They've made a ton of deals between yesterday and this morning, which is awesome, to move business forward. What we did not go to an online tool, an online buying tool. As I alluded to yesterday, and I just threw something else up there today, we'll see what we get from this. I'm not a full believer that is the direction to where the masses want to go with automotive sale. I don't feel that our customers literally want to do absolutely everything to buy a car without speaking to us, ever. I might be one of few thinking this way, but that's the stance I'm taking. And what we're doing, instead of doing that and just allowing them to be on this tool and us never talking to them, is we're tightening up our processes. What we found is the communication between our BDC agent and our sales manager, or myself, on a customer by customer basis has been absolutely phenomenal and better than it has been up until this point.
Right. Okay.
So naturally, usually until COVID happened, I'm making a hypothetical scenario. Someone does a form submission or calls in or texts or whatever, a lead comes in, not showroom traffic, and they want, for instance, a trade appraisal, an idea, or a lease payment, or whatever the case is. And then we've always done this. We've always been willing to give numbers and payments and things over the phone most of the time. But when the BDC agent takes this information and runs to the manager to get a lease quote, if it's busy,
go to the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Then who the hell knows how long she or he, whoever your BDC person is going to have to wait in order to get this information back to the customer. It could be hours, because like you said, it's down here. If there's 4 customers in the showroom, well, this doesn't mean as much, right? So being that we can't have anybody in the showroom, and we haven't, well, answers are being given immediately. Answers are being given upfront, open, honest, transparent, and valid answers to the questions that they're asking. It's instead of, the mumbo jumbo.
Right.
And the response from those people with very efficient answers has been tremendous. So that's where we're headed. We're going to use the tools to allow us to leverage, to allow us to make better processes and give the customers what they want. They want what they want. They deserve what they want. I don't think they want it from a computer.
No, look, I always feel sales it's people, right? And look, if it's not belly to belly, it's still people to people, right? You got to have a conversation. I remember one thing that fascinated me, and I know you're probably really familiar with like Carvana and all, there's still, after I read through all their documentation, there's still 16 human interactions on average to transact.
There you go. Thank you.
So
I did not know that. Thank you.
Hey, I'm the nerd who's like this. Well, they're posting it's phone calls, it's text messages, it's emails. This is human to human capital being used inside this online sales process, right? Because look, I mean, the tech alone just isn't done to support that. And there's a lot of questions like, well, how am I getting my car? Who are you delivering it? When's that going to happen? What happens? Like, what's the process? Where do I do my trade? How does this work? And those interactions need to happen. So, okay, this is really good. So give me more of your, because I love the thoughts that you did not bite the apple of the shiny digital retailing is going to save us through COVID. Correct. You instead took the contrarian side and said, no, I'm going to restructure my people processes to just allow me to keep doing what I was doing, but doing it through these I can't get to you mediums, right? The Correct. Email, text, phone kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, well, you're spot on. So basically, I looked at it like this, and I just posted this earlier. There are tools out there that the majority of dealers use. Yes. vAuto, for example.
Right.
It almost blankets the area in terms of trade appraisals and even further pricing your used cars. They even get into new vehicles and what have you. So what I'm saying is this tool in particular, almost every dealer in the country uses.
Right.
That being said, well, if our dealer here in Elmira, New York is using vAuto, and the other 4 dealerships in Elmira, New York are using vAuto, well, then why on God's green earth is one outperforming the other if we're all using the same software? And the only reason is because one dealer is using it to their benefit and using it as leverage better than the others.
Yep.
And the only difference is the human process within that piece of software.
Yeah.
vAuto doesn't work differently for me than it does the dealers down the road. It works the exact same.
Right.
How we use it and how we use it for our benefit is where we're going to shed our light, good or bad. Yes. That being said, that's why I don't feel that software only is just going to take over the world. I think if we use it, or if we have the software and we use it the way that we should, and we have better processes in-house with the software, that's going to set us up either better or worse. So basically what we're doing now is we're taking a response from a customer lead, and we don't have the ability anymore, by the way, to even offer the option of come on into the store so you can get more for your trade.
Right. So
come on into the store to make sure you like the car before I give you a price or a payment.
Right.
It's not an option anymore. So we're not even wasting time trying to get someone to come in first.
Right.
We're just getting right down to the meat and potatoes.
Which was our knee-jerk reaction before. It was always like, just get him in the store. Just no. Get it. If he's serious, he'll come in. I'm not getting the price quote. Nah, I don't want to deal with that. So get him in.
Okay. Exactly. We don't have that option.
Right.
If we said that and we allowed someone to do, well, we'd be breaking the law. So we're not going to do that. Never mind safety and all the other things. We want to keep everybody healthy. But we found that when we just get into the real meat and potatoes, which is what people want, is making sure that the car that they think they're interested in is the exact car that they're interested in. These cars have so many different trim levels, packaged options, everything, color. We're lacking on our live photos on our website right now because we don't have the staff. So they're all stock photos. One car is going to show white, but it's actually gray or whatever. Right. So we're then taking live walkarounds, live photos, emailing, texting, getting on code video. We use that as a software. Again, I'm not saying software is terrible and we shouldn't use it. I'm saying use it to leverage. Don't rely on it solely. Yeah. So we're getting down to the facts. There's no fluff involved in these conversations anymore because there can't be. And the response rate has been absolutely phenomenal. Now, we're down in volume, don't get me wrong, but what we've done is we've gained a ton of market share just by the conversations that we're having with our competition down the road.
Right.
We have a store down the road that's an auto mall that usually sells 2.5 times as many cars that we do, almost 3 times as much as our store does. We're now selling as many as they are. Ooh. It's not nearly what we have been, but market share is going up. So how we're gaining ground. So when this gets back to normal, if we can continue the market share that we have today, right, well, then our volume is going to be greater than what it was.
So this brings up an interesting question. Now that you have a GSM in there, right, who's responding, and you have another like BDC director in there responding.
Yep.
Right. And now the BDC director is like, dude, I told you this whole time, if you would have prioritized these, like, we would be selling more cars. I'm assuming that's going on, right?
So we have a 25-year-old BDC agent who came to us. She was a fashion major in college.
Okay.
Fashion design. She interned with this auto group years ago during the summer to get a little bit more tech savvy with social media and editing and things of that nature. And about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago, she came back to a job posting. We signed her up, and she has been absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So she hasn't been in the business for so long to say, see, I told you so.
Right.
What she's realizing now is, oh my goodness, this is ridiculously important. And the way that we've been doing things might not be the way that we should moving forward. Maybe there should be some more onus on someone calling in looking for information to get it to them right away.
Right. There's power in that, right?
Correct. Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely. We're go ahead.
Does that change like now your GSM's mind too?
100%.
Like, okay. So like, that's one of the things I thought about. And I think I mentioned this, I was talking to like Andy Moss from Roadster. I said, you know, people are going to buy your tool like they buy every tool. And then when COVID's not the issue anymore, they just go right back. Let's just go back to retailing. And yeah, we still have that Roadster guy over there doing that.
Yes.
But my thinking was, and I don't know what you think, like the managers are the only ones back in stores right now. So they're having to use these tools and they're trying to adjust their processes and they're seeing the real time benefits of, hey, if I quote them right back and actually quote them, look, they got right back to me, or I can do what I probably didn't think was possible because I would have normally just said, nah, belly, get them in the door. And I can extend and actually sell something without the guy coming in. And do you think that's going to change? Like, will this change the hearts and minds of the managers now that they'll embrace this stuff more? What do you think?
If it doesn't, I think they're going to flatten.
Yeah.
I think it must change. I have had multiple conversations with my general sales manager and what we're seeing and how things are playing out. And all of those conversations lead to, man, Allison, her name is Allison. I didn't mean to say her name, but she is moving forward. She's going to be one of the most important positions in the dealership.
Right.
And we need to make sure that she is empowered with the ability and the training to when we do come back to normal. This is what we did. I opened her up last week in our CRM with the ability now to build deals and work deals and give quotes. She's not doing it yet. She doesn't have that experience. But what she's doing with every lead is she's understanding the process to which it takes to create a quote and to understand when and how to read a situation to hold more profit or not, or whatever the case is. She's learning how to desk deals. Because what I feel moving forward, starting now, is whoever is answering the leads needs to have the empowerment to give the answer and not wait for someone else to give the answer to them, and then they relay it back to the customer. They're no longer going to be a middle person. They are going to be the person,
man. Like,
correct.
What's the value of the middle person except cost in the overall deal structure?
Yes. They need to be the answer giver, and that doesn't make any sense. But they need to be the ones that can give the answers, not wait for an answer from somebody else. 100%.
So at this point, you're kind of rewriting your processes to a degree, right? Changing that. I hear you saying like it's definitely going to be a new empowerment game where before it was more of controlling staff in like their bubbles. Like you just call leads, get leads in, set appointments. Now it's, hey, we're going to broaden that up because you're seeing the impacts. And it's funny, you're seeing it in a non-digital way. You are still seeing it in an analog experience to a degree.
That's my point.
I mean, phone, email, text, I got all that. That's digital, but that's still analog in the philosophy of, oh, someone's just going to go on an online retailing tool and go through an entire experience, and then out the back pops a car in your driveway, you know?
Yes, amen. This is what I'm trying to say. And I've gotten some heat for this, and that's okay. But I'm so happy that what you're saying is how you feel, because that's the truth. I mean, I love the stat that you just gave me about, and gave all of your audience about Carvana.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't have any employees.
No,
they have tons of employees, and they're all talking to customers somehow. Yes, however the customer wants to talk. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was funny. I talked to Ben Hadley yesterday, and interesting. So this is something I brought up, was changing your atomic metric, because normally we would just measure number of leads, number of appointments set. Will the new atomic metric, like in what you're thinking, that's definitely not as valuable as engagement. Like, how engaged did I get this customer? How many volleys back and forth did we go? We did 3 emails, 2 text messages, and 4 live calls, which is, 9 engagement total volume. And
Yes.
can I measure that volume against sales as a better indicator versus I got X number of leads and I set X appointments?
No doubt. No doubt. And I think you mentioned it just a few minutes ago, which holds true here. I don't have that exact number. And I don't even know if our CRM or any CRM for this matter gives these type of reports, but they will soon. I strongly believe this. When we immediately give an answer, an irrelevant answer to a customer, the response rate, I know for a fact, I don't know what the number is, but the response rate is certainly higher than if we give the standard, any of the examples that we're talking about. Just bring them in, just bring them in, just bring them in. Nobody answers these things because they know that we're just trying to play a game.
Right. And look, if I'm swimming and I'm going down that thing and you say, no, you can't swim this way. You got to get out and go swim in this way. You're like, nah. I'll just forget it and I'll just go about my business. I think it's learning to catch people in the groove of the experience, right? And then just moving them through that experience. And you don't need technically digital retailing to do that. No. You just need what I still consider is just fundamental like B2B sales skills, even though this is a B2C type thing.
Right.
And that's all about engagement, finding the channel that they best communicate with, whether that's text, email, chat, phone. Because look, some people, like if I call my son, I could call my son, he's 10, but if I call my son's phone 100 times, he will never pick it up.
No, but if you text him,
he's okay. He's still not great because thank God he doesn't have the habits of like a phone. It's not attached to him like us.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, so if I text my nephew, dude, he's like, boom, and I call him a minute later and he won't pick up. I'm like, dude, he goes, I'm busy. I'm like, how are you busy? You're texting me. Like, I don't get it.
Correct. You're not that busy.
No. Yeah. So interesting. So you feel your consumers have been super receptive just to the speed. So lesson number 1 of this is speed. So, right? I mean,
speed and relevancy.
And relevancy
just like a Google Analytics score to a paid search.
Yep.
Let's give what they're looking for. If we attract someone with a paid search campaign and they click on our ad for a used vehicle and we send them to our About Us page, well, that's not what they were looking for.
No.
If they're looking for a new car and we send them to our used vehicle SRP page, well, what does that have to do with what I'm looking for? It has nothing. So Google will say, well, this is not relevant at all. So they're going to tick us for that.
Yeah.
Customers are Google in my mind. So if the customers are looking for something in particular and they're asking us a question and we get it to them, yes, timely, but with a relevant response and timely, they have to both be equally as important, then we're going to get that engagement. And ultimately, to your point, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is engagement and asking. I always feel like you got to invest in the customer first before you try to get stuff back out of them, like whether that's answering questions, that's trust building, right? I always said it's like banking. Like if I walked into my local bank down the street and demand money, my ass is going to jail because I don't have an account there. But if I made 6 or 7 deposits into that bank over the previous 3 weeks and I walk in and ask for money, they'll give me my money. So,
Correct.
I think that's consumer relations, right? And
absolutely.
I think a lot of times we start demanding without making any investment in the customer. So you're finding then the investment up front is paying dividends. Obviously, you're delivering cars now, and you're delivering cars, I assume, at a higher percentage than
much higher,
right? Than before.
Much higher.
Obviously, market's different. People probably are buying now, have to buy for whatever reason.
Listen, are these people lower funnel than normal on average? Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So
I can't discount that fact.
But that being said, there's a learning lesson in here, right? You guys are learning that, wow, if it's speed and relevancy And then how's your process work post this, right? So you get the information, right? You have this dialogue. How are you appraising cars in this fashion? What are you doing? Having them take pictures or?
Yeah, truthfully. Yeah. And most people have been, I feel I've worked in a couple different markets, and a lot of what I've been saying here in the last couple of weeks and on the podcast, I also realized because I was in Central Jersey, which is a much, much bigger market than where we are now.
Right.
You know, we're a smaller store. We sell 110, 120 cars a month.
Okay.
We were 200 plus down the road in quite often. So things are different in different markets. But once we've started to obviously all remote appraised trades,
yeah,
the openness to which the customers have been on their vehicles has been outstanding. Meaning they don't want to come into the dealer with their car after we've given them a number on their vehicle and then us look at it and say, well, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this?
To a golf course? Because
what is this 12-inch gouge, or where is this rust bubble on all your wheel? Like, where you didn't tell me, you didn't show me, because they don't want conflict either, and they're being open and honest with us.
Interesting.
And I mean, and we're not asking any other questions that we normally would have necessarily.
Right.
The whole situation being, remote, but they'll send pictures. They're telling the truth. Not everybody's a bad person. Not everybody's trying to get one over on us. If they feel that they've been given value enough to buy a vehicle at X said, price, then they're going to be honest with their vehicle as well. And they're not going to try to beat the system 9 times out of 10. So people have been open. If we can get pictures, most time we have been. Yep.
Okay, so pictures, go through the process, financing, yes, do all. I assume, they're still coming in for wet signature and take
delivery,
right?
A couple. It's like 10 minutes. It's like 3 wet signatures and they're out.
And they're back out, right?
Yeah.
And then like goodbye. They couldn't have driven. You still no test driving, which is fine. It's
right.
More like retail it out. It's like selling a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Open the door, shut the door. Okay, I got to go home and turn it on and make sure it works like I want.
Correct.
And so you see volume increasing probably over the next few weeks, you think?
I do, yes.
How will you bring more people back? How are you going to do this? Or are you going to bring managers first and let them?
So that's a great question. And we just this morning had a call for the group, and we signed up with a finance product that is going to try. Our back end has been lacking. I'll be the first to admit, because we weren't equipped for this until this happened, and we didn't know, and we still don't have the best processes in place to still make back end money. Okay. Because we can't even pitch a menu or any type of finance product once they come in. You can't negotiate anything.
Right. You don't have like a Darwin or something virtual menu tail light that I could.
In roughly 45 days, we will.
Okay.
And we don't have it, but that's what we're going towards. That's hopefully going to help us. And I know that it will, because it's phenomenal, but we don't have that right now. So our back end product has been suffering. So that being said, what we're doing is we're using something in the interim. And this morning I made a few phone calls, and we're bringing back a finance man.
Okay. So he could at least help structure.
Yeah, so we created Zoom account for the store.
Yeah.
And we are going to be doing live video phone calls with our finance manager after deals are approved and pitching product. We're going to screen grab and show the product menus. Yeah. And we're going to work off of that. At least at this point, we'll have some, like you and me, we'll have some face. They can read body language. They can see us while we're explaining things. And we're hoping that that's going to, and I think it will start or help to increase our back end product. But that's why we're bringing them back, because right now our lead count's going up, our scheduled deliveries are going up, and our phones are blowing up. Right. And with the 2.5 people kind of in the showroom, because I'm also taking care of service as well, it's too much.
Okay.
So we need to give more time on a per deal basis.
That makes sense. So better structuring of deals is in the process roadmap, right? To maximize, profitability and stuff of deals. Okay.
Yes.
So what's your next, that's like 30, 45 days. Over the next bit, are there any other gaps you're seeing like in your processing you need to fill up? Or, where are you going to be focusing your time? So
on the roles of the employees, I'm sorry, when they come back, what is a salesperson's job going to look like?
ooh, so this could be a complete dynamic shift. So
Yes.
are you actually thinking, Dustin, is this like a complete restructure of just what you're seeing and like how you're going to come back? Is it a mental complete game change, or, are you just kind of, hey, we've altered now, but we're going to kind of get back to normal? Or is this going to be, you will rethink pay plans, restructure how people interact? Or
I think that how people interact is to be determined, and we'll see how far this carries out. I don't think that no one is going to, we're still going to have floor traffic when we're back to whatever our normal is going to be. I don't know when that's going to be. People are still going to want to come. We have people on our lot driving around, walking around every day, looking
right.
at cars. We can't even go talk to them. No, literally. Like, I'm thinking about making a sign.
Yeah.
And look and knock on the window and show them the sign, call me, I'm here, or something, just to make light of the situation. But I don't know how much of a shift it'll be. That's what we need to kind of take in stride. Right. But I do think that there's going to be more interaction via these platforms than there has been in the past, because I don't even know the next time we're going to shake someone's hand.
I know. It's a good point. Or elbow.
Even when, yeah, right. That's what, right. I mean, even when we're back open, I don't think people are just going to come in and give handshakes like we normally do.
I think everyone's going to be like this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So because of that, is there going to be less time spent in the dealership? Absolutely.
So
therefore, what they do on a daily basis is going to have to shift.
Right. This brings up a thing. Have you have QR codes on all your cars with all the data and instant connect to you? Or
we don't. We have texting service on our vehicles to which they can text a 5-digit code, and it comes in as a lead on that particular car, which are labeled on our car, and they're on our photos of all of our cars online.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to use a QR code to launch live chat in real time. So they can be a lot, and you're in the.
I'm in.
I don't know. I'm just thinking.
I'm certainly in. I mean, I think you're onto something. I've never heard of that, but if it's out there.
Yeah, you can do that, man. You could have a QR code launch it instant into text, and then you'd be going back and forth. I mean, there's probably a multitude of ways to do that technologically. Yeah. I'm not trying to jam you up with more tech, but you're just trying.
No, listen, I love the tech.
Yeah. Well, listen, but you don't want to have to learn new tech and deploy it when you're trying to figure out processes first.
Well, see, so this is where the miscommunication, I think, comes in somewhat. I am as big of a tech person as there is in terms of new age ways to make things more frictionless.
Yeah.
And I think tech can do that, but I don't think 100% computerization is frictionless. Because to your point, someone gives a credit app on an online buying service, or they say that they're 710 credit score. I mentioned in the podcast, but then they come to pick up their car and we get a full actual approval, and they are 710, but they're a 20-year-old kid who had one credit card with a $500 max. That's all they've ever had. And they just got their first job, and they're making, $20,000 a year. You're not going to be able to finance $35,000, but then a 710 with 25 years of established, well-paid history would.
Yeah.
The computer can't tell you that when you tell them a credit score, because they're not loaning the money.
Yeah.
The banks are.
Yeah. I think my philosophy has always been, look, I say document your processes really well, and then figure how technology fits into the process. And I think that's different than most guys are now launching, just saying, I'm reaching for the technology to fix my problem over here. And that's.
Thank you.
And tech won't
fix
the problem. Sometimes it's like pouring gas on fire.
Yes.
You need to really have your processes. So that's, I think my curiosity with you has really just been around your processes, because that's what you've kind of countered. You're the contrarian to digital retailing is the savior of COVID, and saying, no, it's our processes, our interactions with our people. That's why I wanted to talk to you today, because I was like, finally, It's about the process, right? So
Yeah, and I think it always will be. And
yeah.
I love what you just said. We're not paying for a piece of software to eliminate our poor performance,
Because it
because every piece of software needs to have a process in-house to be able to use that software to its maximum capability. And if you're not following the process you already have without the software, why on earth do we think that we're going to be able to follow a new process with the software if we can't follow a process to begin with, whatever it is?
Look at it as simple. Hey, if you set up your BDC and you set up automated follow-up like email and campaigns, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
My 10-day email, my 14-day email, my 21-day email, all this 30-day email, and I'm sending you offers and all that stuff. And then if the data wasn't in the CRM correctly, then it goes to insert first name. When do you want to commit? That guy could have already bought a car because you weren't using the tech right from the beginning, and it just broke completely down the line, and you look dumb.
Right. CRMs are not cheap.
No, and honestly, I don't believe they do. They help dealers. I think it's a false security blanket to the processes of what actually should be being done inside the store.
Exactly. Yeah. People pay thousands and thousands of dollars, and then if you ask them to say, well, what does your follow-up look like on day 5?
Yeah,
they have no clue.
Email automatically goes out. I don't need to.
What?
Yeah.
What? Automatic email? We have one automatic email, and it's after hours.
Yeah. Other than that, it should be. Yeah.
No, the only thing we talk about, and we our internet department, again, I'm not going to say her name again. I don't want to blow her spot up, but in the year of 2000,
don't want to lose her, so it's okay.
No. And she's killer. I can tell you a story about her. The buy-in that she's had. She's come to me multiple times and said, I want to make a career out of this. So once a week, instead of going to lunch, she sits with me and a topic of her choice for an hour. Anything in the dealership, we go over.
Okay.
She committed her time and her efforts. So I said, I'm in. Anything about the business you want to talk about once a week, don't go to lunch. You sit with me and I'll give you everything I have. So she's tremendous. Anyway, for the calendar year 2019, she closed at 24% of all internet leads. So what she does in what we preach every day is, back to our point, relevant responses to emails. Right. Make it intimate. Do not send 2 of the exact same emails to anybody, because there is no 2 responses that should be the same depending on everyone's situation. The response cannot be the same to Todd as it is Dustin, because I like different things, or my response or my situation is different. I'm asking a different question. Answer the stinking question. That's it. That's it. We got to dumb it down. Actually, we got to make it more simple. And if we ask a question to our wife or our kids or our husbands, well, we expect an answer.
Yep.
And we get pissed off when they try to beat around the bush and answer something with some malarkey. Well, we get frustrated, and so will customers.
I agree.
Just answer the questions.
So in your responses, have you found, like, obviously you said you've been using some video for your responses. So you walk out, like, cruise around the car, inside, outside, whatever is necessary. Is that very one-off, or are you preemptingly doing this and saying, like, hey, I'm going to go shoot a video of the car just to show you, like, the interior size fit? Or
every single lead.
Okay, so you're super video committed. Like,
every single lead that comes into the system gets responded to by a video.
Okay, so personal, like, hey, Dustin, you just put this in on this whatever. I want to show it to you. Here's the outside, inside, nice leather. Yeah. Look, the floor mats are brand new.
Absolutely. So, well, no. So lead comes in, we first send an opt-in for texting.
Okay.
So Allison, our BDC, says, this is Allison. We just got your inquiry on such and such. Please opt in the event that you want to communicate via text. If not, fine.
Yeah.
And then right after that, we send, if it's an email lead, then we send an email. In the way that this company works, CoVideo, is that these videos with our platform can be embedded with a moving or an animated GIF or GIF, whatever you want to call it. So the body of that email shows her moving for the first 3 seconds, and the open rate is through the roof. So they open that up, and when they open that, there's a landing page with links to our website.
Yep.
And then our store in the background and so on and so forth. That message is purely, hello, thank you for your interest. My name's Allison. I'm here to answer all your questions. If there was a particular question, we answer it. If it was on a particular car, we show it.
Okay. So you cut all the standard, hey, thanks for contacting Williams Toyota. We really appreciate your business, like fodder up front. And it goes right to personalization. Hey, Dustin, here's all the information you requested.
Yes.
Here's next steps.
Yes. Now, if they're asking for a whole bunch of information.
Okay.
I like this car, but I want to see this payment versus this other trim level versus a car that you don't have. Then we will send a video saying, I got your email or your response, your inquiry. Give me 5-10 minutes. I'm going to get all this built to you, and please let me know at which fashion you would like this sent over. Would you like me to text you this information? Would you like me to send you another video? We can scan and email a price quote. However you want it, we're going to give it to you.
Okay.
But if there's a ton of information needed, we first let them know that we got them.
Yeah.
And then it's going to take a few minutes for us to give them the actual breadth of the information.
Got it. So
We don't wait 30 minutes to respond to the email just because it takes us 30 minutes to get all the information together.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you feel, is the opt-in super high for text?
No.
Okay. It's just a generic.
Odd.
Well, no, I have to ask. I already kind of knew the answer, but I asked because everybody's like, you got to text your customer right away because it's 90-some% response or instant response rates. Yet,
no, not us.
Well, but the thing is, no. Meaning, like, if I get a customer in a text volley, they're really quick to come back.
Yes.
But it's hard getting customers into the text flow.
Yes. Yeah. So I on the podcast the other day, Gene Girdley had sent me a report or a study done by ZipWhip on I think they polled 2,000 people, and it was about Autobot responses versus human interaction and what people preferred. So 74% of people preferred human, 26% of people preferred a mixture between Autobot and human, and then 3 people said Autobot only. So the
there's
idea
always
of
those 3 guys, man. You know.
I know.
There's just 3 guys in a dark cave. They're like, hey,
right.
I don't want any human contact.
Right. What is that? I don't know who they are. It's crazy to me. But there are some. So we have to have the option for all, right? But what we found is when people do get texting, that is true. You know, it's quick, it's easy, it's all over the place. But getting them to the text, I think that they have to, going back to your point where we have to earn the trust to ask them for the business.
Yeah.
We have to earn their comfortability with actually texting us. Because once you text somebody and you're in the conversation history in here, I think there has to be some kind of personal connection for them to feel comfortable to get you into their phone. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong with that, but.
I don't think so. Like, I think people still believe, hey, email's outside my swim lane. But if you're in my phone, you're going to blow up my phone. You're going to send me 50. And look, I think we've all had those experiences where you just keep getting messages from someone and you're like, I'm like, I don't even want to open it so the read receipt shows, you know, like.
Yeah, right.
Because they're like, oh, I know he read the message. Oh my gosh, I got to send another message.
Send another one. Yeah.
I'm not inviting you for more content that I don't want. So
that's a great point. A great point. And maybe there's something to be said in terms of when we send the opt-in text to that point. Maybe we should get a little bit of communication before we even ask them to opt in.
If they send in a lead and you're instantly like, hey, can I text you? Can I text you, Dustin? And you're like, that might be, maybe that's a
great point.
Test and tweaking, right?
That's a great point.
Hey, let's delay that. Let's send them this other thing first. Let's send them, no matter what, an email with a video and saying, we'd love to text you to speed stuff up or something like that. Because I think that there has to be that reason. There was a great study that was done where they used the word because.
Okay.
And so they basically said there were people in line, and the control was, I'm going to butt in line. Like, I'm going to cut these because, you know, they would use this. So they would ask people like, hey, would you mind if I get in front of you? And most people, you know, it was like 20% said, okay, you know, maybe they're not busy. So they changed it and they said, hey, would you mind if I get in front of you? Because they were all waiting in lines to make copies. So would you mind if I get in front of you so I can make these copies? And the compliance went through the roof, like through the roof. And then they said, okay, they left the word because, and then they changed what was there. Would you mind because I'm late to get to something? Why? It didn't matter what else they said after the word because was the trigger in us that opened it up to enable them to get high compliance with that person.
So when they said because,
yeah,
more people allowed them to get in front of them.
Absolutely. So that literally dropping that word, hey, Dustin, would you mind that I text you? Because whatever I say doesn't matter. You hit the because word and it was good.
Wow. Can you send me that study? Do you have it at your fingertips?
And it's not in my fingertips. It's in a book a psych book I read years ago, but I still remembered that piece. I was like,
oh yeah.
It was all about compliance and getting people to comply with you, right? It's like the same using another one I always remembered I loved in sales when I sold cars was I hated, and I'm sure it happens to you. You walk out on a lot and you say, hey folks, how you doing? And instantly everyone goes, just looking.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Right, okay. So then I was like, well, shit, this sucks. How do you get around the just looking, right? Yeah. So what you do is called reframing, and you take the negative that you know the person is going to deliver to you, and you frame it into what you actually say to them. So you walk out and instead of just saying, hey folks, how are you doing? You say, hey folks, you here just looking? And they go, yes. And I go, great, I'm glad, let me help you. And they're screwed. They have nowhere to go because they fired off their protection of I'm just looking, and now you absorbed it. And you took their negativity and you reframed it, they have nowhere to go.
Love it. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I like that.
But there's this.
They have no out.
Yeah, I always said, like, write down the things that customers say to you that stop you in your tracks. And here's your chance. Oh, I got a smoothie. This is great.
Wow, that's a big drink right there.
That is it, man. I get smoothies. I get all kinds of stuff. They leave me here. It's like being in a little prison. So come once twice a day to bring me food and drop me back off.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, but I'll get you that thing. But I thought you would like that. I think that was a cool.
Oh, absolutely. It's those things. It's those little word tracks or those little understandings of the mind that are going to make us better more so than anything else. I mean, we have a process that is probably more intuitive than it needs to be.
Right.
You know, and it's 2.5 pages long, but the whole idea of it is actually to be 2 steps ahead, which is why the reasoning for the podcast, because with experience, you understand what people's response is going to be. You understand what they're going to ask you, understand what they're going to say based off of doing it thousands of times. So then you tailor your initial statement, knowing what they're going to say. Yeah. And then if you are that way, then you're going to be ahead of the curve and you're going to almost see the future, and it makes it so much easier. But you got to remember, to your point, you got to remember every instance and you got to write it down so you don't forget it, and you jumble up all the information to set yourself up there the next time.
When customers say, I just want your best price up front, and that's when you reframe it. And it's like, I'm sure you want the best price and value up front for the vehicle you're about to purchase. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
You can't say that to me now. I've absorbed your negative energy and I've flipped it into the conversation, right?
Right. So they can't be typical standoffish. Give me your best price. Well, I already said I was gonna.
You just start shutting down these. I call it like shutting down the negativity factory, right? You're just like,
absolutely.
Hit me with that lob. I'm gonna absorb it and go, oh yeah, that's nice. So
absolutely. Yeah. That's what we do though, man. That's the business we're in. We're in a people business, right? How many people say that we're in a people business? Everybody says it. We can't be in a people business if the one thing that you're trying to run after is non-people software.
It's a good point.
we're in a people business. We all say we got to be transparent. We got to give people great experiences and we got to do all this. Well, there is no such thing as people if you want everybody to do everything without talking to any of your people. Then you're no longer in a people business. Then you're a tech company. And that's okay. If you're a tech company, fine. But if we're not, we're not. You can't have both, man.
Yeah. So I always feel like the tech should be your exoskeleton, but you're still controlling it, and it's there to support what you're doing. I hear that in what you're saying with how you're leveraging co-video. I hear that with some of the tools you're using, like vAuto, like you're using these as tools around your already developed processes.
That's it. That's 100% it. And the processes are the things that need to change because of COVID.
Right.
Not that anybody was doing a terrible job leading up into this. A lot of people were doing great.
Yeah.
But it is forcing us to change processes, not
technology.
Correct.
I agree. Well,
and
hey,
if
man.
Carvana's got 16 people touch points, then what are we doing?
Well, think about
Everyone says Carvana. Well, here we go.
Look, I always feel Carvana is just better marketing, and it's packaged up nice, man. And
no doubt. I use a Samsung. I always have. I'm not an Apple guy.
Okay.
And everybody that has Apple, we have arguments. I get it. I totally understand it. I tell to everybody, you have succumbed to a tremendous job of branding and marketing. Because I've yet to have anybody, and I'm not knocking Apple, but I've yet to have anybody show me with their Apple product something that my phone can't do.
Yeah.
So what makes Apple better? The way they make people feel. Because of their branding and their marketing.
But
what's the difference?
That's the core thing. Simon Sinek said it best. It's your why. Why?
That's right.
Why? And I feel like that we miss. Apple owns that.
And, 100%. Great book, by the way.
And I will say, Apple owns that. Android's not close, though Android has the majority of the marketplace because Android gave it away and Apple's,
they're
Apple's old thinking, while Android was like, no, we want everyone to deploy the platform and build on it and be creative. And they wanted,
no matter what, Google phone, Samsung phone, whatever, they're all Android. I understand.
Matter to Google. I think their end goal was mass adoption, not control, while Apple is brand and protection. So,
No, you're right. They've done a phenomenal job of that. In Simon Sinek's book, I read Leaders Eat Last and Start With Why, and he's spot on with a lot of, and listen, he puts factual evidence behind it. I kind of just say opinion-based stuff when I talk, right? I don't really have much to back it other than experience in dealer, but it's so true. It's the same thing, man. We're in people business. Why is somebody going to buy or do business with us as opposed to the store down the road when we have the same product?
Yeah.
It's what we choose to do with our customers and or our software. That's it. So process will lead, not the other way.
So have you ever read Michael Gerber's book called E-Myth?
No.
I'll send you a copy of it. It is literally all about building systems. And it's the system is the solution. Yes. And it's process. So.
Yes. Look at the Patriots. I hate the Patriots.
I hate the Patriots.
But the one thing nobody can discount is the fact that when they have injury, when they have replacement players, when they have their second, third string guys jump in.
Doesn't matter.
The same results. Why? Because their system is so vacuum tight that anybody can flourish within it. They have to meet the criteria, they have to meet the mold, and their culture kind of takes over. But people that are substandard talent level turn into all-stars in that program.
Well, look at that. It's the same. McDonald's. You can take any 15-year-old pimple-faced kid, and they could do the job of someone who was a fry cook or grill man for 30 years and produce the same quality output because of the system they've been put in.
Yes.
I don't think in our industry we think about that as much. We're very personality driven. You want to hire the rock star guys, and rock star guys come with problems. I was probably one of them, attitude. Never wanted to listen to anybody. And but the real reality is you're better to have a really strong operating system that you can plug people in and still get turning an average person into above average in results. I mean, look at Tom Brady, right? What did he go in the draft?
Last,
he was like 200 something. Or I think I'm going to get knocked on this, but listen, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, so I hate the Patriots. So
yeah.
He went in the draft. It wasn't in the top.
No. I think it was like 5th round, 6th round, something like that. I don't know. It was late.
So, but he was able to get into that system under Belichick and thrive.
Yeah. Quick story for you, Todd. See this thing here? See this guy?
Yeah, I love that bobblehead.
Yeah. So see what that says there?
Dirtbags.
And I got it on my hat. And this is the hat. So a couple of months ago, the team here got that for me. They got that made.
Okay.
5 months ago, one of my service advisors, she came up to me. She's like, I need pictures of your head. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I said, okay, fine. I had no idea what she was doing. She's got the best personality in the world. She is bubbly and joyful, and everybody loves her. So she went around and took a picture. I had no idea. And then a couple months later, I forgot about it. We're having a meeting in service, and they gave me this guy. So right around the holiday time, right before Christmas, I had 45 shirts made with that hashtag dirtbags on them, T-shirts. And I handed it to every one of our employees for Christmas. I get them Christmas gifts on me, not the company. I fund them myself. And I should say holiday gifts, not all Christmas. And the meaning behind this. So I was a baseball guy, and there's a university called, they're out in California, Long Beach State University. And they had, years and years ago, their Division I programs they're a big time program, but years ago in 1989, they were a subpar at the D1 level. They didn't get the 5-star recruits. They didn't get kids being drafted out of high school that still wanted to go to college. They were just B-level players, C maybe. And in 1989, they were having some work done to their stadium. So they had to practice on an all dirt field in the middle of nowhere. Now out in California, obviously that gets rock hard. There's no rain, whatever. If they go through a drought, it gets terrible. Yeah, not a good condition to practice on. I think this was in the fall when they first came to school. And their head coach at the time got everybody together and says, all right, boys, we're obviously not in the best situation in the world with the best facilities. None of you were drafted out of high school. Nobody thinks we're any good. Everyone overlooks us. We're underdogs. I'm an underdog. I couldn't go take a job at LSU if I wanted. Nobody thinks I'm any good either. So I'm with you. We got one of two choices. We can come together. Play for the name on the front of your jersey. We're going to take the names off the back of our jerseys. There's going to be no last names anywhere. We're going to look to our left, look to our right, and we're going to play for each other in the locker room, on the field, and that is it. Or we can say, woe is me, we have terrible conditions, this is why we're no good, yada, yada. We can want to transfer schools, all this other garbage. Team meeting without the coaches comes together and says, we're going to take this thing, we're going to run with it. We love each other, we're one unit, we're one team. They literally, at that point, labeled themselves the Dirtbags because they were playing on a dirt field. They got the university to change their mascot, which is the 49ers for all athletics. The baseball program alone is literally called the Long Beach State Dirtbags, and it's on their uniforms. It's on their hats. Since then, that year, they made it to the College World Series, and I think, I might be wrong here, but I think they made it to the semifinals of the College World Series, and they were the top 4 teams in the country that year, all with subpar, redheaded stepchild type athletes and all this other terminology, but they came together and they did it as one. Since then, they have had multiple players play Major League Baseball, a handful of all-stars. Right. If you go on their website, they have quotes from all of these Major League players that have gone through the system explaining to them what a dirtbag is. And it's a cult. It's like being a fraternity or sorority. They are brothers until the end of time. Right. They did everything for the person to their left and to their right. So I labeled all of our people as dirtbags because nobody thought we could do what we've done in 2 years. Right. We probably shouldn't be where we are. And we might not have face value the best highest performing people that you would think. But as one, we all bust ass and we do it for each other, and we've been able to perform at really high levels. So we've adopted that term, and that is what it is.
Yeah, I love it.
That is what it's about, to your point. So our systems are all based on how am I going to help this person over here who is my teammate that's in a rough patch? How are they going to help me? And we just work together. So that I had to tell you that based on that what you were just saying.
No, I love it. I'm gonna send you the book, and you jam up on that. Hey, man, I really appreciate you taking some time today. I know you're busy. I know you're trying to onboard, get people back in.
Yeah,
I know you got a lot going on, and dude, this was great. I
appreciate you having me.
Learning more stuff, man, every day. It's cool. So
I learned a few things today from you too. Thank you so much for having me. And when we get going with ours, we're going to start taking guests here soon. I hope when I can figure out this tech nonsense.
Yeah, man.
No pun intended here, but we got to figure out how to get guests on, and we'll be reaching out. And I hope we can have you on as well. Thank you,
man.
It was a lot of fun.
Do whatever you want. So it's cool. And then thank you again. So hold on one second. I'm just gonna.